Stray Kids imagines when you accidentally touch your husband and they get needy. Seungmin. It happened during one of Seungmin's quiet evening, which usually meant studying while pretending not to care that his wife was sitting far too close. Yan leaned over to grab her phone from the chair beside him. She misjudged the angle. Her hand brushed him. Seungmin paused mid-sentence and slowly set his pen down. Yen straightened instantly. I didn't mean to, I swear. He looked up at her, one eyebrow lifting, unimpressed but clearly amused. You say that, like. Yen backed up until the edge of the bed pressed against her knees. Seungmin's follow hand slipping casually into his pocket, his expressions unreadable. You're smiling. He leaned in, hovering just above her, close enough to steal her breath. His brushed her neck, light, deliberate, like he was making a point rather than. He lifted his head, eyes locking onto hers, his composure cracking just a little. Then he, her slow, firm, confident, one hand. Yen smiled. He sighed, already resigned. Then her again, deeper this time, all sarcasm gone, neat, unmistakable. Changbin. It happened in the gym room, the place Changbin insisted was sacred space. Sweet clung to his skin, music thumping low in the background, his focus completely. As she leaned in, her fingers skimmed him, brief, accidental, but Changbin's reaction was immediate. He froze mid-trap, breath hitching sharply before he. I'm sorry, she rushed out. I wasn't looking. He turned to face her, eyes dark and intense, jaw flexing. You never are, he replied, stepping closer instead of back. Changbin dropped the towel, his hands going straight to her, firm and apologetic. No, he said, I'm being affected. He backed her into. You don't get to touch me like that, he murmured, and expect me to just keep lifting. Before she could respond, his mouth found her neck. Changbin kissed her, then. Eventually, he only calmed when Yen wrapped her arms around him, pressing into his chest. Changbin sighed, content, his chin resting on her shoulder. Next, Lino. It happened in the kitchen, which somehow made it worse. Yen was barefoot, half focused on the pan, half complaining about the cat hair floating through the air. She pulled away instantly. Oh, sorry, she blurted out. Minho didn't move, didn't speak. Then he let out a slow, deliberate breath. You are really brave today. She turned to face him, only to find him already close, too close. His eyes were sharp, unreadable, lips tilted in that smug way that always meant. That was an accident, she said quickly. He braced one hand beside her, the other resting casually on her. Still counts. Before she could respond, he. You don't get to touch me like that, Minho murmured and walked away. Minho, his lips found her, slow and deliberate, pressing just beneath her ear. When she tried to slip past him, he blocked her with his forehead resting against her. No running, he said softly. Stay. Eventually, she gave in, hands. Next time, he said Leslie against her mouth. Be careful. Judging by his smile, neither of them wanted her to be. Iron. It happened when Jeongin and Yen were getting ready for bed, brushing their teeth side by side, teasing each other. Absolutely nothing. Jeongin was relaxed. Yen turned to grab a towel. She misjudged the space. Her hands brushed him. The reaction was immediate. Jeongin choked on air, coughing once before freezing completely. Yen pulled back at once. It was an accident, I swear. I know, he said, but his voice had dropped softer, a little strained. He tensed his mouth. You're just going to leave? He asked, trying to sound casual and failing. Yen blinked. What? He stepped closer, finger catching the hem of her shirt. You make it hard to calm down, he admitted. He lifted his head, eyes dark now, confidence settling in. He hovered for a second, then her properly slow. When he pulled back, he looked into her eyes, a small smile tugging in his lips. Before she could say anything, he suddenly lifted her into his arms. She I said, don't move, he replied softly, already walking out of the bathroom carrying her like it was the most natural thing in the world. Bangchan. When it happened, it was the most ordinary moment. Bangchan and Yen were both half asleep on the couch. A movie murmured in the background, her head tipped against her shoulder. John sucked in a quiet breath, the kind that told on him immediately. Yen, he said, voice low, already smiling despite himself. I'm sorry, she whispered. He caught her wrist before she could retreat, grip firm but careful. His eyes were darker now, focused on a way that made her. You can't do. His thumb brushed over her pulse, feeling how fast it jumped. Doesn't change what it does to me. He tugged her closer until she was straddling his like it was. You're dangerous when you are clumsy, he murmured. She laughed, nervous. You're being ridiculous. No, no, he said, his mouth brushing her jaw. I'm being honest. He kissed her then, slow but demanding, like he'd been holding back all day and finally stopped pretending. His hand stayed busy, squeezing, pulling her closer. Where every time she shifted, he followed, refusing to let her pull away. He whined softly when he broke the burying his face in her neck, arms locked. She melted, fingers tangled in his hair, feeling how responsive he was to every. The movie kept playing, completely ignored. Next time, he said with a grin, be more careful. She smiled. She had no intention of being careful at all. Han. It started with chaos. As usual, Yen was on the couch, surrounded by snacks, half listened while Han rambled about a song idea that about absolutely no. She reached over to steal a chip she missed. Her hands landed somewhere very much not a chip. There was a beat of silence, then Han squeaked, hey! Yen shouldered back so fast she nearly fell off the couch. I was going for the chips. Han stared at her, eyes wide, face already red. I know, he said, still grinning. Then his laughter faded slowly. His gaze dropped, then lifted back to her face. Darker now, but you can't just do that, he added. He hovered over her, one hand planted beside her head, the other resting lightly on her like he was testing his hand. She warned. When he finally pulled back, he rested his forehead against hers, breathing a little heavier. Yeah, he said quietly, I'm ready now. Yen laughed. Hyunjin. It happened in the dance studio, lights dim, low music paused, while Hyunjin stretched near the mirror. Yen was sitting on the floor behind him, scrolling through her phone. Her hand brushed him accidentally, briefly, but enough. Hyunjin stopped, moving completely. The silence felt loud. Did you mean to do that? He asked softly, not turning. Yen froze. No, I swear I didn't realize you were that close. He finally looked at her, long hair falling into his eyes, expression unreadable. Then he smiled. She backed up until her shoulders met the mirror. Hyunjin followed, crowding her space without touching her yet, his hand lifting, hovering near her like he was deciding. He leaned in, brushing her neck, barely there at first. She inhaled sharply, and he smiled against her like he'd want something. His grew slower, his hand slid to her lower back, pulling closer when she tried to tease him about it. She sighed softly, forehead resting against her shoulder, suddenly clenching. Felix. It happened on a quiet morning, sunlight spilling across the kitchen while Felix insisted on waking with his wife Yen. He had flour on his cheeks, sleeves. Her hand brushed him accidentally briefly. Felix went completely silent. She turned immediately. Oh my god, I'm sorry I wasn't looking. He blinked once, then laughed soft and she teased him about it, but he didn't laugh this time. Instead, he set the bowl down careful, like he needed both hands free for something else. Felix, the oven is preheating. Let it, he said, his voice a soft rumble. He dipped his head, lips brushing the sensitive skin beneath her ear. In one smooth, strong motion, he lifted her to sit on the cluttered counter, sending a cloud of flour into the sunlit air. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos.